Hello everyone and welcome back to another video in our Autodesk Inventor professional tutorials. In this video we're going to start talking about the modify menu under the 3D model tab, and the first feature we're going to look at is the hole feature. Hole feature is really fun to work with, commonly used. As we talk about assemblies and 2D drawings, we're going to use the hole feature a lot. And I have to say Autodesk Inventor really made it easy to use, easy to understand. It's pretty straightforward. And it's kind of a unique feature because it is a placed feature. We have to have a 3D part and we place the feature on that part. But at the same time, it is a sketch-based feature, so it checks both boxes. And it is available here and also on the right-click menu. You have the whole feature. You have access to the whole feature as well. So just to look at different scenarios, because you can use the feature in so many different ways. I've seen people use it with different techniques. So to look at those different scenarios, let's create a basic 3D part for ourselves. Let's start a 2D sketch on the XY plane and draw a 2-point circle rectangle using the origin point and dimension it. So let's call this 50 millimeter in length and maybe 30 millimeters in height. And of course, you can assign different dimensions if you want to work with a different shape, different geometry. Feel free to experiment with it. And now I also need to go over some of the other scenarios. I need a round edge. I can of course draw, center point circle here, taking advantage of this midpoint. I can take advantage of arcs again, as we talked about it in the sketch concepts videos in this tutorial. But in this video, I'm going to use the fillet, 2D fillet feature. I know that this is 30 millimeters, so that's going to be my diameter if I want to draw like a half circle here. And this is a radius information if you keep your cursor on it. So I'm going to enter 15, which is half of 30. And I'm going to select these two lines, and that's going to give me that quarter of a circle. And then I'm going to click on these two lines, and that's going to give me another quarter. So now this is kind of half a circle here, and it is fully defined. Now I can finish the sketch and I can extrude that, say by 20 millimeters. Now it's just a basic 3D object that we can work with now, and we can place holes on it. So now I'm going to right click, select the hole feature, and I'm going to select a random spot here. As I place the hole, notice that around this hole there is this orange ring, which indicates that this is the active hole, which doesn't, no, which is something I don't need right now because I've only placed one hole. It becomes very useful when I work with multiple holes. And also in the midpoint of the hole, I can see that it created a point for me, and there is this orange ball around it. This orange ball indicates that you place the hole on the surface, but the sketch that this hole consumes is not fully defined, which means that you placed it randomly. It's just got a random location. So now let's click OK and go to the browser tree. Notice that hole 1 is generated because you placed a hole, and next to it there's a plus sign. You can expand that and see the sketch that Inventor automatically created for you, and hole 1 consumed that sketch. So now let's double click on sketch 2 and look at the sketch that Inventor created for us as soon as we place the feature, place the hole. So now it's just this point. The point is also a feature available to us in the create menu. It just created a point for us. As we talked about it in the past, we can just general dimension this, click on this point and select this vertical line and say this is 15 millimeters away from that vertical edge, and the horizontal line on the top, let's say also 15 millimeters away. Now the point color changed to red from purple. Now it's a fully defined sketch. And if I, before I finish the sketch, by the way, notice that as I use these lines as references, it also changed the color of those lines to yellow because Inventor realized that I want to use those edges to dimension this, and which means that Inventor projected them for me. That's why they changed color. As we talked about it in the project geometry video in this tutorial, I could have just clicked project geometry on the right click menu and select the entire face, and that would have basically projected the straight lines and the circle, even the center point for me, and I can use those reference points to basically dimension my sketch, modify my sketch, and fully define it. So, but I didn't do that. I just directly use the general dimension command to fully define the sketch. Anyway, so let's finish the sketch, and as soon as I finish it, the location of the hole instantly updates. And now I can just go in the hole and modify it. But so what I'm trying to say here is, like, you can always go into sketch and just directly modify the sketch. You have that option. And a lot of people prefer that actually. But you don't have to do it by just getting out of the whole feature and going into Sketch. You can just actually do it in the whole feature as well. So to give an example on that, let's delete this and let's just place another hole. Notice that the middle of it is also orange. And now I can actually select this top line here and enter 15. And then come here, select this line here and enter 15 as well. And then click OK. So now it is a hole that I didn't have to go into sketch mode to, fully define this. But if I go into sketch mode, those dimensions that I entered are also displayed here. And in the whole feature, if you zoom in, the midpoint, that ball that was orange color, now it's red, which means that it is fully defined. So again, you have two different ways to create the hole. You can fully define the sketch of the hole and determine the location of the hole. You can just place it, go into sketch, and then fully define it, dimension it, or you can do it as you are in the feature, and you can just use those edges to find the location of the hole. And again, another alternative is let's delete this one, and I can just draw a sketch here. And I can just say, for example, I have a point somewhere in the middle. And then I can just dimension this and then call it again 15 millimeters and call this 15 millimeters. And now it is a fully defined sketch, and sketch is here in the browser tree. And then I can click on hole. Now the inventor understands that I just placed a point on that surface and I am using the hole feature. User is probably trying to place a hole on this point. So now it automatically places a hole for me. And notice that the ball in the middle is also red color because now it's fully defined. So as you can see, you can use the whole feature in so many different ways. A lot of people start with just going in a sketch and updating it, and then people kind of start doing it in the whole feature because now it saves them a lot of time, it saves them clicks, and it makes them more efficient, and it helps them with more become more productive and get fast. Now let's delete this and look at a different scenario. Now instead of adding one hole, I'm going to add multiple holes. Right click, hole feature, let's randomly place these holes here. Notice that only the last one has this orange ring around it, an orange ball in the middle. The other ones don't have it because this orange ring around the hole that I placed indicates that this is the active hole that I am modifying. I can always select this hole here, and now that is the active one. I can select the first one here, now that is the active one. Again, I can just enter the edge on the top. I click on the edge on the top and enter a dimension here. I can call this 8 millimeters. I can call this, for example, 10 millimeters, and I can activate this hole, come to the top, enter 8 millimeters, and then come here and enter 30 millimeters, for example. I can activate this one. Maybe this one is also 8 millimeters, but again, just like working on a sketch, I can select the already entered dimension and use that parameter to save time as well. I can select this line here and then select, the other dimension here, which is 10, and select this one. And this one is also 8 millimeters. Let's select this 8 millimeters right here, and then select this, and now select the 30 there. Now I can click on OK. Now all of my holes are placed and they are fully defined. Again, to confirm that, I can go in and check that color of the ball, which is red. So now, again, if I go into sketch mode, also I will see the same thing. And now every time we looked at different scenarios, we always used straight edges. So let's delete this and let's now use the circle, now this round edge. If I place a hole here and let's say in a random location, and I can always go into sketch and then I can project the geometry, which will project the center point of that hole as well, right? Of that circle. Now, my point here, which is the sketch that hole feature created for me, I can just drag it around because it's not fully defined, and I can snap it into that midpoint, center point. Now it's fully defined, and I know this hole is right in the middle point, center point of this half circle. I can do it that way. Or let's delete this hole feature and let's click on hole feature again and randomly place a hole. Without getting out of the hole feature, I can select this round edge. And that way, Inventor understands that I want to apply a constraint here. I want to place this hole in the center point of this half circle. Now, without getting out of the hole feature, I can actually complete the task. And I can click OK and done. So, these are like, again, different methods to do it. And I could have just placed the point and then click on the hole feature, and then it would have placed a hole on that point as well. So there are so many different ways to do the same thing. So now let's delete this one more time and now look at the hole properties menu in more detail. Let's this time place two holes, activate this one. This one is 15 millimeter away from this and 10 millimeter away from this edge. Let's activate this, and this one is the center point of this round edge. Now we have two holes and we fully define them very quickly. And now let's look at this menu here. This is the whole properties menu, and like I said, in the input geometry, we have two positions, which means that this menu is applied to two positions right now, because we have two holes. And now in the type category, I have the hole selection. I can just say that this is just a simple hole, which means that I could have done the same thing with the extrude geometry, right? Extrude feature. I could have created a sketch on the surface, draw a circle, and then I could have extruded that. And instead of adding material, I could have cut that, and I could have created a simple hole. But you can do the same thing in the hole feature as well. If you go to the clearance hole, now you are getting into, you have another menu available for you, because maybe you want to use the metric hole, maybe you want to use a hex head bolt or a socket head cap screw, or you want it to be M5, M6, M4. Now you have more selections because you are actually going to use this as a clearance hole. Or you can make it a tapped hole. As you make it a tapped hole, now, for example, I can just select metric profile here and click OK. Notice that I have this thread animation here, representation here in the hole. Because this is not actual thread, so this is just a representation. It is just creating that for me, just to let me know that this is a threaded hole. It is very important to select everything in the hole feature, because in the future, we're going to create 2D drawings and we're going to have to create callouts. Maybe we're going to share this drawing with our customer, with our employer, with a machine shop to manufacture this part. And we're going to say, give me all the information about this hole, and we're going to do a call out. And what kind of hole is this? This is a metric M5 hole, and it's a tapped hole, and that's just going to be automatically brought to me on that 2D drawing, and that's going to save me a lot of time. So in the following videos, in this tutorial, we're going to have a separate video to cover all those details. That's why it's very important. But again, I can just change the seating. Obviously, I have that selection here. This one is no seat, and this is the counter bore, and this one is the spot face. These are too big right now. Let's just change them to M2s, M3s. And then this is the spot face, and I have the countersink. And if you are someone, who used CAD software before and designed parts before, you might be familiar with these, metric profiles and socket head cap screws, and what does M3 mean? You might be familiar with all of that, but I know that some people don't know it. And if you're not familiar with these, don't worry about it, because in the following videos, as we go into more, the assemblies, and we're actually going to have a productivity video about this. We're going to use the existing designs, prepared designs provided by the suppliers, and these suppliers, supply fasteners, and they already give us their designs, and we're going to take advantage of those. We're going to go into those videos, websites, and we're going to go look at their specs, and then whatever specs they give us based on the fastener we want to use, we're going to come here and enter that information here. That's when it's going to make a lot more sense. So it's going to be very easy. Just stick around for those videos, and we're going to do all that together. So again, I can come here and let's say I select M4, and I can just change the fastener type and fastener size as I am modifying the hole. And again, I can just change it to counter bore. Let's say it's a tapped hole, and I can change all these values depending on the type of fastener I'm using for my application. And when we come to the behavior section, these are some familiar selections here. We use similar options in the other features like extrude and revolve. Obviously, the first one is distance, and that means that you can create the hole to a certain distance, and then you have through all, which means that creating the hole, basically drilling it through the entire material. And then you can have the two, which I have. If I created more extrusions here, I could have selected the two option and say that, create this hole until you reach to that feature. And also I can change the direction, but right now it wouldn't make sense because I have no material on the other side. So it has to go through this side. And these are the default settings that Inventor created for me based on the selections that I selected here, based on the values that I entered here. And you can take advantage of those. Or again, as we look at the items we're going to use, purchased items we're going to use, we're going to get all this information from those websites very quickly in a matter of seconds. And that's just going to you're going to, if you're not familiar with any of this, you're going to end up saying, well, I didn't know that it was this easy. But of course, if you're experienced with this, this is nothing new for you. So I'm sure, I hope you're not getting bored when I'm explaining it. But I know that a lot of people are learning it from scratch. So that's why I want to mention that it's going to make more sense as we go through all of this. So again, we can just change the type, the threads based on the selections here. We can just change it to anything we want and change the type of the hole. And the last thing I want to talk about is the presets. And sometimes, like, I worked on really complicated assemblies with hundreds of components, and you use the same fastener over and over and over again because you have to mount all these components together, and you have to use the same settings so many times. And for a feature like hole, if sometimes the machines I designed have thousands of fasteners, and if you have to select all of this for each one of them, you're in trouble because your project is not going to be done on time. So then you have to create presets for you. So I just selected here metric profile M5. Let's say it's a socket head cap screw, and I selected this. Let's say I'm going to use this tens of hundreds of times during this design. I can come here and select the plus sign, and that's just going to create this description for me based on my selections, and it's just going to save my settings. I can say, for example, M5 socket head preset. Now I can just say, okay, I can hit enter, and now this is saved. Even if you close Inventor, this is going to remain as saved. So as you are continuing to design your project, you can just come here and use this preset so you don't have to reselect everything. It saves you a lot of time. And of course, if at some point you can have a pretty long list here. If you want to delete them, you can come to this gears icon here, which is the preset settings. You can say delete current, and that's just going to bring you back to the last used, or you can just say no preset and go back to the default settings. And again, I just want to say that whole feature is extremely easy to use. In this video, all you need to understand is you can place the whole feature on a part, and you can just define the sketch that it creates for you by going in the sketch manually and dimensioning it, or you can do that in the feature. And you can just take advantage of round edges or straight edges, and you can work with multiple holes, and you can just like immediately just locate them. And that way this is this is what you should get from this video, just basically using the hole and placing it as you want to place it on your design. And then the next step is understanding what kind of hole, what type of hole you want to create based on the fastener you want to use here. And that information comes from the supplier, and then wherever you're going to purchase that fastener from. Maybe you're just going to go to Home Depot and buy it, or maybe you're going to order it online. And that information is already there. We just need to learn about how to use that information in a matter of seconds, apply it to our project, and move on. Again, as we do more exercises, it's going to make more sense. So please stick around. And for those of you who already subscribed, you are going to be watching the productivity videos as well. And in the second productivity video, which is coming up, we're going to talk about this in more detail. And also, if you're watching the playlist, if you're watching the videos in order, you're going to be able to see those videos because I'm going to include them. But of course, I know that there are people who just search for certain features and they watch that and get the information they need to apply to their projects, which is perfectly fine. As I said, we're creating these tutorials for you. We want them to be free. We want them to be fully accessible, and please use them any way you like it. It's just about you. It's for you. So however it helps you, and that's the important part. Is just as long as it is helpful. So again, I really appreciate the support. People who already share the tutorials for with their friends. It really means so much to us. So please subscribe, comment, like. Let us know if you want us to, add anything, or if we made a mistake, or if we skipped something accidentally. And we would love to get your feedback. And Until the next video, see you then. Take care.